Well, good afternoon. Today I have the pleasure of introducing Curtis Dadian. Curtis is the National Sales Manager for PIPP Mobile Storage, one of our best-in-class vendors that we've been working with internationally. I've had the pleasure of working with PIPP for 3 years as of last month, and they've been outstanding in providing TheraCann International, which you're seeing our center behind us here in Panama, as well as our Sprout AI vertical urban farming technologies. So what we're going to chat about today is just that, vertical urban farming. We're seeing a mass push into this new sector. A lot of cash has come into this new sector. Companies are going public, always the first sign that it's got some legs. But we're seeing entire cities and countries decide it's time to effectively get control over their food chain. And for that, they're growing indoors and they're growing vertical. So welcome, Curtis. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your experience with PIPP, and then we could talk about what we're doing specifically with your company. But please, welcome to our TheraCAST and tell us a little bit about PIPP. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Happy to be here. Appreciate the time. And yeah, PIPP Mobile Storage has been around for quite a while, about 40 years, and had really spent most of that time servicing the business and retail markets, specifically targeting backhouse retail brands, the large brands you see throughout the world, really some of the largest retail brands. And PIPP has dominated that market. We operate out of a pretty large facility in Grand Rapids, Michigan, done that for the entire time. And about 3 years ago, as you know, things started to present opportunities in the horticulture indoor cultivation space. And we decided to kind of dip our toe in the water and find out what that's all about. And already having a pretty substantial operation, PIPP Mobile Storage, we had developed really strong production capabilities, fast lead times, economical products, and we're really known as a leader in that space. We didn't really understand what was out there in the horticulture cultivation market, but we started to hear that things were happening, and we started to think that we just may have something that can be of value. We really didn't know to what extent at the time. So about 3.5 years ago, we started to get a bit educated, and we learned that there was a tremendous need. And not only was there a need, but there was also a lot of mystery on how to fill this need. So we really had to get educated and learn and start to understand, where can we enter this space? Where is our real value, and what do the customers need from us? We originally thought, oh man, we're the racking experts. We're gonna talk to these customers, let them tell us what they need for racking in their indoor facilities, and we'll build it. Piece of cake, right? And we learned pretty quickly nobody really knew, and they needed help and direction to understand how to put this facility together. And we were a key part of that. We, meaning the mobile vertical racking systems, given that these bedrooms, flower rooms, clone rooms, dry rooms, they're all filled with product that needs to accommodate what they're producing, their plants. And so we became kind of the backbone, kind of the spine of these facilities, and things are attaching to, hanging from, being affected by, the plant count that we can accommodate within a facility. What are the lights that are being incorporated in? How about airflow and drainage? How do we handle microclimates? And how do these customers mitigate these risks and pitfalls that they're bound to run into in an environment that they've never operated before? And so we really all started to learn together. And I think that's been, that was our initial takeaway, was this is complex, this is new, this is large scale, there's a lot of money on the table to get it right. And we've got to help the customers. And to do that, we've got to not just remain steel benders out of Michigan, we've got to become as close to the cultivation space as we can be. And we had to build that operation. So we actually created a division underneath our parent, which you mentioned, PIPP Mobile Storage Systems. We created a new brand, a new team, a new operation, PIPP Horticulture, back in 2017, and have operated since then. And today, I'd say I'm happy to say that we now have hundreds of facilities operating and growing on PIPP Mobile vertical racking systems. We understand the difference between a clone room and a bedroom and a flower room in a way that we didn't 3 years ago. And we've really built a really strong network of suppliers, consultants, architects, contractors, because this application really calls for indoor mobile vertical racking, and there are only a small number of players in the space, unlike lighting or something where you've got 70 or 80 choices. Here you've got 3, 4, 5 options. PIPP being the lead player in that space, we get called on most, if not all, of these projects. So it brings us into these grow facilities. Even though we're not the grower, we're talking to growers every day, and not 1 or 2, but 10 or 50. With a sales team and a worldwide market now, we're talking to growers every day at high volume, dealing with the problems they're facing, and then taking those conversations and that knowledge and learning into each and every new customer. So we really feel good about where we are. We've got a lot to learn still, and continue to do that, to evolve our knowledge and our products to fit the need for GMP compliance and things like that, that we're continuing to think about. So I'll pause there. Sorry to.
Oh, no, that's an excellent introduction. I can attest to that, being your client now for 3 years. You know, for our viewers and as our clients would attest, you know, PIPP is all about continual improvement, and PIPP is also flexible. We're here to provide a solution, not just a SKU. And in the case of our Center of Excellence behind us, being able to fabricate a custom design, which is 5 feet wide rolling rack, as opposed to 4 feet, which would be atypical of the image behind you.
Yep. And I remember that. I remember that conversation. That request hit our desk. Yeah.
Yep, that was 3 years ago last month, and here we are today, right? And we're putting in projects globally based on that footprint. Now, what I like about PIPP and where we saw some really good market synergies is, at the end of the day, indoor growing's expensive. It can be, unless you can show that you're maximizing the square footage of the facility. And what we found, and that was the holy grail, was being able to clearly demonstrate that growing vertically, where we're eliminating unnecessary aisles, like you see in a shipping container grow off, right? Or in a warehouse where they're trying to structure a bunch of ticky-tacky tiny spaces, or areas where it's all vertical rack but fixed. We use all that extra space, and because of that, we can be extremely cost competitive to the point where we beat out greenhouses. And for us, that was the game changer. The addition that we went after as well, and PIPP was able to accommodate, is we put habitats on those rolling racks that are self-contained and closed. Zip them up, leave them alone, come back when it's time to harvest. So if you do it with a fraction of the staff, and the microclimate that we're servicing isn't the whole warehouse space, it's just the area for cultivation.
Remarkable.
Right,
Yeah,
so that helped further reduce our costs. But at the end of the day, we had to use a racking system that, as you said, was GMP compliant. That's all important. But it also had to be able to meet occupational health and safety.
Sure.
And, you know, the projects that we're putting in Zimbabwe and South Africa and elsewhere, these are pushing 4 levels high now. So we're in the 40-foot plus range, in making sure that the local inspector understands that these won't topple over and kill people.
Yeah, no simple task, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of COVID, the other thing that impressed me with PIPP, unlike other vendors that we've had experience in the past, you guys didn't miss much of a beat. You're able to carry on in meeting your orders during PIPP, during COVID at your facility, which was outstanding. So good to you. But what are you seeing with regards to an increase now, with regards to interest in securing local supply chain? Are you seeing a shift away from just the big cannabis producers that decide to go indoor? You're starting to see people wanting to grow just straight out leafy greens and microgreens. How does that look?
Yeah, we are. And I'd say we get a fairly steady flow of inquiries at a much lower level. You know, it's probably less than 10% of our requests are non-cannabis applications. And we have had a handful of designs, handful of conversations, no installs yet. I think that'll be coming soon. So we are getting those calls, those big cities, those areas where they really want to have those leafy greens on demand, quick and accessible, and they don't have the environment to grow year round. Those are where we're seeing some interest and where we see there's an application for us. So that's a new focus that we'll be putting more energy into soon.
Well, this year, for example, it's starting in Q2, and that accelerated in Q3, and now light speed in Q4, are remote communities. And depending on the country, like in Canada, for example, that could be an indigenous community that has no food security anymore. We also saw in Western Canada the closure by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency of leafy
Sure.
greens coming out of California till the end of December. And that could
Yeah.
be further extended because of E.
Yeah.
coli 157 being part of the grow, which is normal if you're in a big flood table base and you're using water that's contaminated with feces. However,
Sure.
indoor grow typically doesn't have those big issues because we're either using municipal water or RO. Now, that said, though, tell us a little bit more about where you see this technology heading. If the focus will be, for example, on governments to secure, what are we looking at? Are we looking at these mega facilities? Are we looking at micro facilities? What are your thoughts? And how
Yeah.
do you
So I
see
mean,
it market?
yeah, that's a great question, and we're seeing it coming from all directions right now. Multi-state operators, the small local growers, and everything in between. So sure, we anticipate consolidation in the marketplace. We anticipate some of these larger brands and larger corporations, especially domestically in the U.S., as we think legalization is likely coming, coast to coast. So that is not here yet, but when those things start to happen, then of course we'll see movement in the type of organizations that commit and get involved. But right now it is coming in all shapes and sizes with high volume.
Well, for example, Indonesia came out yesterday saying that as a country, it wants to secure indoor grow. It's going to dedicate up to 150 million to start these projects and get them underway. Bangkok is hosting a first time urban vertical farming trade show in Bangkok,
Wow.
and allocating dollars to the city to find ways to grow indoors. Now, both of these countries have climates unlike Canada where you can grow all year round, and yet they feel the need to do this, probably because it is secure. And if you can do it close enough to where it needs to get to market, then there's no interruption with regards to transportation, right? So that should be interesting. Now, in terms of your facility, you're based in the United States, but you're working globally now. Is there any plans to expand your reach to fabricate in other countries? What does that look like?
We would love to be doing that. And that conversation happens about monthly. Internally here at the corporate office. It's obviously a big step and a big move, and we've serviced these international markets for years on the retail and business side. But we don't have local production outside the U.S. and that's a conversation that continues to happen. And we realize as that request grows, as the demand grows for our product, that's something that we're going to need to address. At this point right now, we are servicing the world from our factory in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah, exactly, which has worked very well. But, we're here in Panama. We're right on the Panama Canal. And the reason is we have access to the canal, right? And we can put things in shipping containers and get them all over the planet. But when you're in the center of a continent, you have to get it out to rail, out to seaport, and then off. Then, of course, that has its own challenges. I appreciate that. Well, that's good news. And keep us posted on that. I'm sure we could have another chat about it because we'd love to help you there. The closer you are to our other foreign markets, all the better for us, and that's awesome. Now, in terms of warrantability and the types of issues that you continually improved with the more mobile storage racks over time, can you tell us a little bit about your warranty and in what's new, what might be coming along for new features or functionality?
Yeah, two great questions, Chris. So warranty is fantastic. We warranty our product for 5 years. For any kind of defective material or breakdown of the equipment. Our trays are warranted for 3 years. Service is minimal on a system like this, which is why we can cover the product the way we do. There will be an opportunity to have an extended service coverage plan after the warranty period. But we are all about customer service. And when our clients have an issue, we're there. Of course, the international markets are a bit different for us without staff locally. In those markets, we provide training support for installation. We provide supervision for installation and training during the supervision. And we're able to service parts needed just through the shipment system and any kind of virtual support for install and troubleshooting. But we stand by the product. They're designed to last 30 plus years, and service is easy to maintain on site for the customer. And again, we're about a five-year warranty on coverage.
Well, and I can attest to that. So our managed services agreements with our clients are 5 years, and that's why this aligns so well. And it's our staff that are on site doing the assembly, the erection of the rolling rack system, and then putting the habitats directly into the racks, together with all the other equipment for a full vertical scale operation. But it's lovely because the support has been very good. And I believe in their first shipment, we were missing like one part, and it just, you know, your team came together so quickly and said, here's the workaround. Let's just get this going. And
Wonderful.
Like me, it was perfect.
Yeah. Not surprised to hear that. But it's nice. It's nice to hear that, but not surprised. Yeah.
No, well, there was a lot of parts, so it happens. Yeah. And we rushed you guys. I think you had a week to get it all together and get it down to us in time for our first trade show here in Panama.
That's right.
Now, with regards to any enhancements or future changes to the racks, or you've been at this for a while, and I'm not expecting any, but is there anything else coming down the pipe we should be aware of?
Yeah, well, we're constantly looking at how the product's performing. And early on, we had some low-hanging fruit. You know, most of our carriage and rail system is constructed out of aluminum, always has been. So we're ahead of the game there already in terms of corrosion-resistant materials. There were a few components that were steel. We had to convert those to stainless steel or zinc-coated, which we've done. For GMP compliance, we had some exposed chains and gears. We had to cover those, which we've done, to help those clients that are going through those certification reviews and practices and kind of make that process easier for them. We are partnering with cleaning company products, with foaming agents and things like that, that we can share with our customers and help them save some time on how do we maintain, how do we transition during harvest, and how do we get ready for the next harvest with our product. And we're able to, again, take that information and kind of help that customer move more quickly through that learning curve. And then on the product development side, so that's the refinement side. On the development side, absolutely, we see opportunities to improve what we're doing. And I can kind of share, I want to get my hand slapped for this one, but we are working on, let's just say, some concepts that will likely eliminate the need for rails on the floor. Okay, so there's an example for you of something kind of significant on the R&D side. One of the challenges that, as you expressed earlier, you guys are going crazy high with your racking system. A lot of our projects look like the one behind me, which is a 3-level grow. And accessing second, third levels does require an extra step, and obviously a rolling ladder, a
scissor lift.
Scissor lift or some kind of a rolling scaffolding is used to do that. And the benefit, of course, with the 3 levels is we've got 3 levels and we've got triple canopy space. The drawback is there's going to be some extra time to access that. So we're working on solving that and building in some platforms that will allow the servicer to remain at the level they're servicing and walk up and down the entire length of that aisle without having to get up and down and move that ladder or push a powered system. So there's 2 examples of things that we're doing that we think are going to really improve the system and take a couple of the, a couple of the small negatives away and replace that with something that enhances the operation.
Well, I appreciate your sharing. As I said, you're best in class. That will well keep you in best in class as others try to imitate. So well done, well done. And getting access to those levels, I look at the alternatives. We see many fixed in place catwalks and stairs, and it's just wasted space. At the end of the day, the person may be on the catwalk or on the stair for 1% of the operational time, but it's area that can't cultivate. And every square meter, every cubic meter has a cost. in these facilities, and that's just not an option for us to be competitive, especially when we are growing crops not as valuable as ayahuasca or peyote or cannabis, right? Lettuce has to be has to be cultivated at a cost that makes sense. So well done, well done. And as for using paint film and whatnot, even in future, if that could be even biocidal or whatever, something activated under UV, great. We've managed that by putting it in the habitats itself. But we also want to be able to show that we can wipe down the structure as a whole inside of our canopies in a way that meets current GMP, CGMP compliance standards for pharmaceutical grade operations. So well done, well done. So in the time that we have remaining, I believe you've covered all the bases, Curtis, and I really appreciate your time today. And we will follow up in future as we motor along with new creative projects. But is there any other point that you'd like to bring up today? Did we cover it all?
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to have the conversation, Chris. Thank you for that, and really enjoy getting close to our customers like this, understanding what your vision is, what you're learning, how you're evolving in the space, and we kind of learn together. So we want to make sure we're available to you as well. Keep that in mind. We've got thousands of projects that we're working any day of the week, and we're happy to just share nuggets of important information that just may be of value. So never hesitate to reach out. I know you've got great representation with Paul, and he's available. Apologize. He's available 24/7 as well as myself, my whole team. We've got in-house engineering team, design team, installation services, all available to our customers, and we welcome your conversations.
Well, the service has been outstanding, and that's why we've had a great relationship for 3 years. Looking forward now to ramping up orders with you in the many weeks and months ahead. So Curtis, always a pleasure. Thank you and your team for your ongoing support. And we definitely look forward to picking up with you again in the new year and share some more stories. So
wonderful.
Enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.